Good afternoon, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma. Welcome to Special Report for Wednesday, September the 2nd. We're brought to you by KC Securities. Thank you very much for your sponsorship to KC. And we are waiting for Doug Ford. He's in Whitby today. He's joined by Carolyn Mulroney, who is the Minister of Transportation, and Kinga Surma, who is the Associate Minister of Transportation. And we'll have that for you shortly. But first, we're going to go over to Weather Daniel. What's going on, buddy?
Thank you very much, Chris, and good afternoon, everyone. We're going to take a look at our live view, which is sponsored by wirelesscom.ca. Check their website out. They have many telecommunications options available, or visit them on White Oak Drive. You're looking at City Hall there with the river in the background. Sun is out with some cloud today, so it's going to vary depending on the time of day. You may see some sun and you may see some clouds today. All right, getting into your expected highs for the day in our region. 22 in Thunder Bay, 19 in Wawa, the cool spot up there, 21 in Timmins, 22 here in Sault Ste. Marie, back to 21 in Elliott Lake, and then up to 22 in Sudbury. The expected lows, 15 in Thunder Bay, 13 in Wawa, 11 in Timmins, 13 here in Sault Ste. Marie overnight, and look at that, single digits, 9 degrees in Elliott Lake and Sudbury overnight. Make sure you bundle up, it's going to be a chilly one. All right, getting into your forecast, their 3-day forecast on Thursday. We are going to see some rain. It will be cloudy. Rain will begin late in the morning with a risk of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Winds will become southwest 20 kilometers, gusting to 40 near noon. We will see a high of 20, and then overnight we are going to see a 40% chance of showers and windy as well with a low of 13. Friday, a mix of sun and cloud will come in with a high of 16. However, we do have a 40% chance of showers in the afternoon that day, but it will clear up for the nighttime with a low of 12. And as you can see on Saturday, it will clear up for a nice day, 19 degrees and sunny. We will have a low of 13 on Saturday night as well, and then that's when things change once again. We're going to have a 40% chance of showers overnight on Saturday and Sunday. Well, it's a mixed bag, so it's going to be cloudy with a 60% chance of showers throughout the whole day and night, and we may see a risk of a thunderstorm there. Monday, you're looking at overcast. Tuesday, you'll see the sun peek out a little bit, but look, we're only at 17 degrees there. And then we're back to some unstable weather and rain on Wednesday, 17 degrees. And your overnight lows are between 14 and going down to 11 by next Wednesday. So we're getting close to those single digits as well. Some of our regions are already getting to those. Some mornings they're down to 5 or 6 degrees when I check the regional temperatures. So we're getting closer to those cool mornings. So make sure you enjoy what you can on Saturday on the nice day this weekend. Everybody go to SiouxOnline.com. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and we like when you interact with us on the live shows, so make sure you send us your birthday shoutouts or your anniversary shoutouts. And of course, all the stories and weather that we do for you is all at SiouxOnline.com. Okay, everybody have a great day, and I will see you later on the 5 p.m. newscast. Back over to you, Chris.
Thank you very much, Weather Daniel, for keeping us up to date on what's going on outside. And we are waiting for Doug Ford's press conference. Going to be a split screen in just 1 second there for you. Today, Carolyn Mulroney, who's the Minister of Transportation, and Kinga Surma, who's the Associate Minister of Transportation for the GTA, will be joining Doug Ford, and the announcements coming from Whitby, Ontario, just east of Toronto. Earlier today, the remains of Sally Gibson were identified. They were found out on St. Joseph's Island. She had been missing, her family reported her missing on August the 18th. She was found out in Hilton Township along with her abandoned vehicle. They did a postmortem, and she has now been officially identified as Sally Gibson. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Gibson family at this difficult time. The M&M is doing a customer appreciation charity barbecue this Sunday. The money is going towards the YMCA Strong Kids campaign. It's taking place at the M&M Food Market at 216 Second Line West. It's on Sunday, and it's going to go from 1 to 4 p.m. And all of the proceeds will be going to the YMCA Strong Kids campaign. So if you're in that area, go by for a hamburger and help the local YMCA as well. Speaking of getting help, the Women in Crisis got a grant from the COVID-19 Emergency Community Support Fund, which was a fund created by the Trudeau government to help charities during this difficult time because obviously charitable donations are down. They received a grant of $22,375. It's going towards their Newcomer Women's Cafe project. And basically what that is, according to Aaron Lodge, the Communications and Administrative Coordinator for Women in Crisis here in Algoma, the Newcomer Women's Cafe aims to improve the mental and physical, emotional well-being of 20 refugee and vulnerable newcomer women in Algoma. It provides an environment where participants can gather and share with other women, develop their interests and abilities, and work on personal and group-based goals. So, congratulations to the Women in Crisis for getting that grant. And finally, new cases of COVID-19 in Ontario. Our numbers back up today. It's at 133. This is the second highest total actually since July. And this comes as the Toronto Officer of Health says there's going to be an inevitable rise with kids going back to school next week. They're not sure how much the increase will be when kids go back to school and COVID-19 starts to be passed around more easily. There has now been at least 100 new infections, 13 of the last 14 days. We've only had one day less than 100, which was down at 88. This now means that our 7-day rolling average has now creeped up to 122.7. Just 7 days ago, that 7-day rolling average was at 103.2, and it had dipped as low as 85 in early August. Most of the cases, though, came in Toronto and Peel region. 21 of the 34 public health units across Ontario, including the Algoma Public Health Unit, had no new cases. So most of the cases are actually being localized in the Toronto and surrounding area. There is 60 people in the hospital across Ontario for COVID-19 and 13 in the ICU. And we don't have any numbers for how many people in the ICU are on ventilators. But we're going to throw it over to Doug Ford's feed and wait for his announcement.
That's great. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back in beautiful Whitby, along with our municipal partners, Durham Region Chair John Henry, Whitby Mayor Don Mitchell, and Oshawa Mayor Dan Carter. I just took the GO train here with Minister Mulrooney and Minister Surma, Minister Bethenfalvey, and PA Thana Gaslam, and our local champions Lauren Coe and Lindsay Park. And it's great. And it was a real great experience. I'll tell you, folks, it was clean, it was safe, it was reliable. It's a world-class commuter service. I want to recognize Phil Verster and Chair Metro Links Chair Don Wright. He's another champion, Don. And I also have to thank Karen Cameron, the Ontario Public Transit Association, and the folks at the Canadian Urban Transit Association for their extraordinary work. Because the truth is, we're in good hands with our public transit agencies. They're working incredibly hard to make sure each and every rider has a safe experience, because many people rely on the essential service, and ensuring a safe public transit experience is even more important now that people are returning to work and our kids are returning to school. We worked around the clock with our municipal partners to keep transit going throughout the pandemic, because without transit, people can't get to work, they can't get to school. Without transit, our frontline workers can't get to the patients, workers can't get to the factories, or keep our grocery store shelves stocked. And we need transit riders and workers to have confidence that when they take GO train or a subway, streetcar, or bus, there are necessary safety measures in place, like mask requirements, like physical barriers, like hand sanitizing stations, like frequent cleaning of vehicles. Transit staff and riders need to know that they are safe taking transit. And that's why we've consulted with the Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Williams, and the command table to deliver public health guidance for transit operators based on the best available medical advice and science to keep riders and transit staff safe. And that's why we fought for transit at the table with the federal government during the Safe Restart negotiations. We secured over $2 billion to keep transit systems running, $2 billion to enhance cleaning measures, help agencies purchase PPE for staff, and address fare shortfalls. And we've already announced the first round of funding to immediately support our municipal transit agencies as they prepare for more commuters in the fall. And we couldn't have done it without the support of our incredible municipal partners. My friends, everyone standing on this platform today, all the agencies across the province, we are making sure you and your family can get back to work and school safely on our public transit systems. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister Mulroney.
Thank you, Premier. As Ontario gradually reopens, with kids returning to school and parents going back to work, our government is doing everything we can to protect commuters and families who are resuming the use of our public transit systems. With proper health and safety precautions taken by both passengers and transit operators, we are confident that people can feel safe on their daily commute. Everyone who uses a GO train, a subway, a bus, or a streetcar should feel safe and confident, which is why transit providers across Ontario are working hard to protect staff and passengers. We're working closely with Metrolinx to be a leader in public safety as they prepare to add more GO bus and train services beginning September 5th. Toute personne qui monte à bord d'un train GO, d'un autobus ou d'un tramway doit se sentir en confiance et en sécurité. C'est pourquoi les organismes de transport en commun de l'Ontario travaillent fort pour protéger le personnel et les passagers. Nous travaillons en étroite collaboration avec Metrolinx pour être un chef de file en matière de sécurité publique, alors que l'entreprise se prépare à ajouter des services d'autobus et de trains GO à partir du 5 septembre. Metrolinx has increased the frequency of deep cleaning at all work locations, stations, and vehicles, and have installed seat dividers on GO trains and buses. Hand sanitizer dispensers are being provided on every GO bus and at every GO Transit and Up Express station. Health and safety kiosks have been added at several GO stations to provide tools and advice on how to stay safe. And passengers can even choose to get their temperatures checked. We have also provided municipalities with $15 million in funding to support enhanced cleaning of their transit systems. Metrolinx a augmenté la fréquence des nettoyages en profondeur sur tous les lieux de travail, ainsi que dans les gares et les véhicules, et a installé des séparateurs de sièges dans les trains et les autobus GO. Des distributeurs de désinfectants pour les mains ont été installés dans chaque autobus GO et dans chaque gare du réseau de GO Transit et d'Up Express. Des kiosques de santé et de sécurité ont été ajoutés dans plusieurs gares GO afin de fournir les outils et des conseils de sécurité. Les passagers peuvent même choisir de faire vérifier leur température. These measures follow our government's comprehensive health and safety guidance for public transit systems released in June to help protect employees and passengers during the COVID-19 outbreak. And I'd like to remind everyone who will be using transit in the coming weeks to continue following public health advice and the requirements put in place by transit systems, such as practicing physical distancing, wearing face coverings, and washing your hands frequently. Together, we will continue to stop the spread of COVID-19 to protect the health and well-being of our communities as the province reopens and we return to work and to school. Merci, thank you. I'll now pass it over to Associate Minister of Transportation, Kinga Sturma.
Thank you, Minister Mulroney. So much has changed this year, but our government's commitment to the health and well-being of the people of Ontario will never change. We know that a safe and convenient transit experience is critically important to individuals and families across the region and beyond. Whether it takes you to school or to work or to buy groceries, transit is an essential part of our daily lives. It takes cars off our roads to reduce congestion. It reduces greenhouse gas emissions. It connects people to places and opportunities. We are always working to make transit improvements, and we will not stop. Transit operators across Ontario are working hard to protect staff and passengers, and we're working closely with Metrolinx to be a leader in public safety. I am proud of the measures that Metrolinx is taking to keep Ontarians safe. Our government and the team at Metrolinx are making safety a priority, and we're reminding transit passengers to do your part to help protect each other. Don't take public transit if you're sick. Wear a face covering and wash your hands frequently. If you're unable to, use one of the many hand sanitizing stations available throughout your journey. By working together, we can make public transit a safe and convenient way to get around for everyone. And with that, I'll turn it over to Don Wright, the Chair of the Board of Metrolinx.
Thank you, Associate Minister Surma. It's a pleasure to be here today with you, the Premier, Minister Mulroney, and all the invited guests. I'd like to pick up on the point that you made about working together. Metrolinx has been focused on restoring and growing services to our customers. We are also continuing our program to build subways and new GO rail services safely. We very much prioritize working together with our regional partners. During the pandemic, we've collaborated with all the transit agencies across Ontario, including the TTC and Durham Region Transit, to jointly combat the pandemic. This includes sourcing personal protective equipment and supplies for all of our services and sharing safety best practices with our partners. Just this week, we worked with Durham Region Transit to launch Presto e-tickets, a new contactless fare payment option. We are also supporting Durham Region Transit to improve transit services to customers in this region. We have many joint projects, of which the extension of the Lakeshore East GO beyond Oshawa through to Bowmanville is the biggest and most impactful for both Metrolinx and the region. We already have a joint Metrolinx-Durham team working on transit-oriented community investments at the proposed stations. We are also jointly developing the Durham-Scarborough Bus Rapid Transit project. Metrolinx is privileged to be a part of providing transit solutions for Durham region. I thank you for having me here today, and it's now with great pleasure that I introduce an advocate for transit in Ontario, Karen Cameron, the CEO of the Ontario Public Transit Association. Karen?
Thank you. These have been trying times for public transit. When COVID arrived, we had to act fast to protect riders and to protect workers. We also had to keep operating. Even as ridership plummeted, essential workers in the health, grocery, and janitorial sectors needed to get to work. We relied on them, and they relied on transit. But there's someone else we came to rely on, the Government of Ontario. Throughout the pandemic, Minister Mulroney was in regular personal contact with transit agencies, and Premier Ford was a champion of including transit in the Safe Restart Agreement. Thanks to them and the federal government, public transit will receive up to $2 billion in support. Without this help, transit systems would be forced to reduce service. But because systems knew help was on the way, transit kept running, and running safely, in ways that didn't crowd vehicles, and with measures to keep drivers safe, such as shields, with service levels that don't make lower-income workers, seniors, or people living with disabilities wait unacceptably long. From transit systems and our riders, our message to the government is simple and clear. Thank you. The speed with which you acted is appreciated. We couldn't have asked for a more committed champion, and we look forward to continuing to work with you as the finer points are worked out to keep transit moving safely. It's said often these are unprecedented times, but some things aren't unprecedented. Every day in communities across Ontario, people depend on public transit for essential trips, to get to work, to get groceries, to see doctors, families, and friends. Soon, they'll go back to school, and allowing people to do the usual in times that are anything but required helping public transit. Premier Ford and Minister Mulroney were there when we needed them, so we could be there when Ontarians needed us. Thank you. And with that, I'll now pass it over to Member of Provincial Parliament for Whitby, Lauren Coe.
Thank you, Karen. And as the MPP for Whitby, I'd like to thank the Premier, Ministers Mulroney and Surma, and the good people of Metrolink for hosting today's event. My riding is home to many residents who rely on public transit every day to get to work and school. And the overwhelming message I heard today is transit is safe. Riders can be confident taking the train, bus, or subway, knowing that every step has been taken to put their health and safety first. I want to wish everyone in Whitby a safe return to work and a safe return to school. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
We'll go to the phone line for questions. Just a reminder that it's one question and one follow-up, please.
With CBC News. Please go ahead.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi there, Junior.
Hi, Loretta.
On long-term care, you talked yesterday about the few new cases that we're seeing. Just to clarify, are any homes still being temporarily managed by hospitals? And also, what is your government looking at doing to ensure that those case numbers stay down heading into fall?
Well, there are still a few long-term care homes managed by the hospitals. I think that's a good thing. I got to tell you, I'm a strong believer in something called campuses of care moving forward, that we have a hospital, and if they have extra property, even a stone's throw away from the hospital, that we start building the long-term care homes similar to what we've done here in Durham and over in Peel as well, and along with over by the 400 and Finch site. So it's really important that we keep the long-term care as close to the hospitals, and we're going to continue moving forward with the protocols and the guidelines that we've implemented in long-term care. And I just find it amazing, and it's, again, I want to stress, is nothing I did. The leadership through the minister and Minister Fullerton has done an incredible job. But most importantly, and I know Minister Fullerton would agree with me, it's the PSWs. The PSWs and the docs and the people that manage a lot of these homes, they were able to, get control of it, and it was tough. But if you figure over 76,000 people that are living at long-term care, and one day we had 0, I think the other day is 1, I think today was 1, they deserve all the credit in the world. And by the way, those PSWs, they're overworked, they're underpaid, and I'm going to make sure we take care of that because they deserve more money. And this is, I always use them as comparisons. They went into an inferno. None of them complained. They went in there, they did their job. And I'm just so grateful for all the PSWs out there.
Follow up.
This one is from a colleague. We've recently seen some stores and restaurants temporarily shut down due to COVID-19 cases. How concerned should people be about going out to shop in places like malls? And also for you, how concerned do these closures make you?
Well, I'm concerned. My heart breaks for these small businesses. These people are struggling. They're holding on by their fingernails, and we're doing everything we can to help them. And so is the federal government. We had a really good discussion with the Deputy Prime Minister the other day on how we could help these small business owners, and I think we're coming up with another plan to support them moving forward. But man, your heart has to break for these people. They're doing everything they can. And as for safety, practice the golden rules. Wear a face mask, wash your hands, and social distance. And that's what we have to do. My big concern are the numbers that I see every day, from 20 to 39, and especially 2 areas. And I'm not knocking them because they're great. But when you're looking at Toronto and Peel, large populations, and again, it's not their fault, I want to stress that, but they're making up 60% of all cases in the entire province. That's concerning. So the people ages 20 to 39, the numbers are big there. That's concerning.
Next question.
Your next question comes from Tim Kelly with Durham Region Media. Please go ahead.
Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
The Premier, what is There's been some concerns raised by small business owners in the Durham region that they raised with me about the end of the eviction ban that came at the end of August and beginning of September 1st. And I wondered that it came at the same time as the end of the secret plan for rent relief for owners of landlords who own these properties and small businesses rent out. I wondered if there's any plan to extend that eviction ban through to the end of the year, and any talks with the federal government about extending the secret plan.
Yes, yeah, good question. We did have that conversation with Christia the other day, how we can extend that. We can't do it alone. We need the federal government's support. So it's on the table right now. Our goal is to get everyone back on their feet so they can self-sustain themselves, their business, and move forward. But we're in discussions right now regarding that. We just have to help these people move forward. But not just that, too. There's like the banquet halls. These poor folks are hurting. And it doesn't apply for anyone with 50,000 square feet or over, and it's not their fault, that they're over 50,000 square feet. So we're going to look at helping a lot of these banquet halls. There's a lot of them.
Follow up.
And also, people who are depending on the extension of the GO train service through to Bowmanville, they're wondering if things are going ahead as planned, and if everything's on course despite COVID-19 interfering with a lot of other things that are going on these days. Is everything going on as planned with the GO train extension to Bowmanville?
Yeah, so before I pass it over to Minister Mulroney, I just want to give a shout out to all the people at Metrolinx, all the frontline staff that have been through this pandemic. They're as solid as they come, and they're over there. So I want to thank all the great frontline people at Metrolinx. That's what makes these places run. Not me, not the minister, but the people that show up every single day. And I'll tell you, when I went on the train today, it was an incredible experience. It was clean, it was safe. I encourage people, hop on the train, take a ride, and you'll feel a lot more comfortable. I'll pass it over to Minister Mulroney.
Well, thank you for the question. Although the pandemic has had a great impact on all facets of our lives, it hasn't stopped us as we're moving forward with some of our important projects. As you know, Metrolinx has been working closely with Durham Region on the details of the Bowmanville GO extension, and so we're still proceeding as we had intended before the pandemic. And I would just like to thank the advocacy of MPP Lauren Coe, MPP Lindsay Park, and of course the President of the Treasury Board, Peter Bethenfalvey, all from Durham Region, who have been advocating for the extension of the Bowmanville GO. So it is continuing as planned, and we'll have more to say about that in the future.
Next question.
Your next question comes from Natasha McDonald with Radio Canada. Please go ahead.
Hi, Natasha.
Hi. My first question is for the Premier. So the official opposition is asking supposedly to review your back-to-school plan. So they're saying they're worried about the last classes, 70 kids on a bus. So I was wondering if your government would welcome a review by the Ombudsman and kind of just your general reaction to that.
Well, I got to share the experience I had when I went to the school yesterday, and again, the principal, I believe Mr. Fisher, he's incredible. Speaking of principals, I want to give a shout out. I was on an interview today, and when I got offline, the person interviewing me said, "Man, I went by the school and it made me feel so much more comfortable." It was Kate that was telling me this, and I said, "Who's the principal?" And they said, "Principal Stephanie Richards at St. John Paul II in Brooklyn, Ontario." And she said, after I left there, I felt so much more confident. And I'm not saying 2 million parents show up to the school, but I felt the same way. When I went through this school,